When you've got a closet overflowing with designer outfits like I had, as I started packing, I just faced the harsh truth, which was I owned more stuff than a department store during clearance season. To move to Spain, I knew I had to pare down my stuff in a major way. I mean, if you watched my earlier video, you saw me dragging those suitcases up the stairs. But the real truth hit me was this. If I wasn't wearing these luxury items now, I'm not going to miss them when I get to Spain. They were just taking up space, physical and mental. So you know what? I bagged them up and out they went. Some of those luxury goods had emotional baggage attached, and that's why I ended up getting rid of them. Some of them. And not the cute designer luggage kind of baggage. I'm talking about a past relationship. I had a gorgeous purse and a couple of dresses that were gifts from an ex. And at one point, you know, they made me feel loved and spoiled. But they were just things. And after the breakup, they became constant reminders of a relationship that was so over and frankly, not healthy for me. Every time I saw that purse, it was like a little ping of memory and not a happy one. And I said to myself, why keep literal baggage from someone who's no longer in my life? Because keeping those items felt like holding on to a chapter I'd already closed. So I said, you know what? Bye-bye. I sold it online to a lucky buyer and ditched the dresses too. And let me tell you, it felt like breaking a little shackle that I didn't even know was still on me. Sometimes dumping those ex's gifts is the final step in dumping the feelings that go along with them. Transatlantic moves, they're not exactly suitcase friendly anyway. When you've got a closet overflowing with designer outfits like I had, as I started packing, I just faced the harsh truth, which was I owned more stuff than a department store during clearance season. I really did. I mean, I had friends that would come over to me and say, oh, you don't wear this, let me have this, or let me have that. And I was like, you know what? Here, take it. You're right. There was no way all those shoes, bags, and dresses were coming with me anyway. I gave a lot of stuff away to Goodwill, Salvation Army, you name it. I called people up and say, hey, I got a piano. Do you want this piano? I mean, I was giving stuff away like crazy. I sold some things, but most of the stuff, I just gave it away. And I said to myself, do I really need all of this in my new life? Well, spoiler alert, no, I don't. I mean, moving countries turned out to be the perfect excuse to declutter decades of accumulation and just start fresh. So here's the funny thing. Even with a closet jam-packed with fancy clothes, I always ended up wearing the same handful of pieces on repeat. Is anybody else guilty of rotating like the same 5 outfits over and over again, no matter how many options you have? Am I the only one? For me, it's my favorite pair of jeans that I wear, a comfy black tee, my go-to sneakers, maybe a little sundress or two, and one leather jacket, and basically that's it. I had to laugh at myself, like, why was I clinging to a rainbow of luxury dresses when I clearly prefer jeans and a t-shirt? All of those designer labels, they didn't change the fact that I'm a simple girl at heart. I value comfort, and I mean, I spent a small fortune on clothes to look fabulous, but most days I felt most like myself in my $20 yoga pants or, you know, just some black t-shirt. And my friend she said to me, why do you always wear black? You know, I want to see you in some more color when you get to Spain. So when I got to the airport, I did buy a few little things, but those are those 1 and 2 items and one other shirt That's all I got. So now on to a more bittersweet part of this purge. Because some items I was holding on to belonged to my mother, who recently passed away. And letting go of these was a lot harder because there's genuine love and grief tangled up in those fabric folds. So after a lot of reflection and some tears, I came to a realization that my mom's not in those things. She's in the connection that I have with her in my heart and in my memories. And in a way, letting go of her clothes was an act of trust that her memory is strong enough to live on in me, not in a closet. But this whole process, it got me reflecting on why we hold on to so much stuff in the first place. A lot of us use stuff for emotional comfort. One thing about clutter, it is really sneaky. You think it's just stuff, but it can start to weigh you down much more than you realize. I mean, I didn't even know how much all those unworn clothes and trinkets were stressing me out until they were gone. And I felt lighter. Here's a fun fact. There's actual science behind that sense of relief, especially for women. Studies have found that the presence of clutter in your environment can trigger stress and anxiety. Basically, our brains prefer order. When we're surrounded by chaos and too much stuff, our minds get overwhelmed and cranky. It's like every unused item was a tiny whisper in the back of my mind, adding to my mental load. Ugh, exhausting. Many of us don't even realize that we're owned by our belongings. We spend weekends organizing junk, money maintaining things, and mental energy worrying about stuff getting lost, broken, or even stolen. Once I let go of the excess, I found I could actually focus on real life, the people I love, the experiences I was having, the new adventure here in Spain. You name it, clutter was stealing my attention. Since moving here with just a couple of suitcases, I've been mixing and matching my limited wardrobe like a pro. And you know what? I haven't felt deprived at all. If anything, getting dressed now is so much easier because I love every piece that I own. Every item is my favorite. With a minimalist closet, I feel creative and content with less. Plus, I can focus on experiences now. So instead of spending my weekends shopping or managing my stuff, I'm out exploring Spanish farmers markets, having coffee with new friends, sitting on a park bench, journaling about life. I'm living. The joy I get from these simple experiences completely overshadows any temporary high I used to get from buying a new designer handbag. And now I don't have any buyer's remorse either. Friends, I urge you, let go of some of that stuff, the stuff that's weighing you down. Life is happening right now in front of you, in the conversations you have, the places you go, the memories you make, not in your storage unit or at the back of your closet. I know it can be scary to part with possessions, especially when they're tied to memories or what if scenarios. You don't have to do it all at once. Try it with just one small box of things that you haven't touched in years. Donate it, sell it or whatever, but see how you feel after it's gone. Chances are you won't even miss that thing after a week or sooner, and you'll gain a new appreciation for what remains. You might even feel a rush of relief and freedom. And with that extra space, you make room for new experiences and new relationships. Trust me, the real riches in life aren't material. Now let's talk about something else I've realized only after stepping off that luxury treadmill. Because a lot of luxury goods are an illusion. We've been conditioned to equate big brand names with quality and status. But newsflash, just because it's expensive doesn't mean it's inherently better for you. In fact, there's a whole conversation right now about how luxury items are often hugely overpriced and even made cheaply. Posts allege that brands like Louis Vuitton and Hermes, they produce their pricey items in Chinese factories for dirt cheap, and then they slap a logo on and sell them for crazy markups. I mean, you could be paying $2,000 for a handbag that costs, I don't know, $200 or less to actually make. And it doesn't stop there. The whole tariffs and trade wars drama in recent years only highlights how absurd this is. When countries slap these big tariffs on imports, guess what gets more expensive? Yes, those same luxury products, many which are made in places like China and then shipped to the Western markets. So we end up paying even more, not because the item is better, but because of politics and import taxes. Meanwhile, I learned that some of these luxury brands were manufacturing things as cheaply as possible. The whole system started to feel like a bad joke on us consumers. I mean, here I was obsessing over keeping these status items, when in reality, they may not even be worth a fraction of what I paid. Understanding this was like the final nail in the coffin for me. My luxury shopping habit, over. I don't feel tempted by that illusion anymore. If I do need something nice, I'll look for quality and ethics, not just a fancy logo. So here I am now in Spain with a minimalist wardrobe, 0 designer handbags, and 0 regrets. Getting rid of all that luxury stuff was one of the best decisions I've made for my mindset. I mean, I thought I'd miss it, but honestly, I've gained so much more than I lost. My life feels richer now in all the ways that count. I have peace, my home isn't a cluttered chaos, and my mind isn't constantly distracted by stuff. I have freedom. I can pack up and go traveling on a whim because I'm not tied down by a mountain of possessions. My suitcase actually closes without me sitting on it, and I can fit everything into one carry-on now and travel wherever I want to go. And I have joy, real meaningful joy that comes from new experiences, relationships, and living true to myself, not from chasing the latest fashion trend or unboxing a pricey item. In the end, I learned that the real luxury is life itself. It's the morning stroll through a Spanish street, sitting in a cafe, drinking a café con leche, the laughter shared with new friends, the calm of knowing that I have exactly what I need and nothing extra to weigh me down. None of those things I have a designer label, but you know what? They're priceless just the same. Real luxury is peace, freedom, and joy, not labels, logos, or price tags. Remember that the next time you're holding on to something that no longer serves you. You deserve a life that isn't cluttered by the past or by things that don't add value to your present. Thanks for listening and letting me give my 2 cents on materialism versus minimalism. I hope it inspired you to maybe declutter a little bit, or at least think about what truly matters to you. If I, a former luxury hoarder, can do it, you definitely can. Until next time, sending you all love from Spain. Stay happy and stay free, because that is the real Lux life.